What's going on, MJ traders and investors? It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Thursday, February 1st. Hope we're doing awesome. And in this video, by popular request, going to do an update on my entire MJ portfolio with percentage breakdown for 2024. I already did a video in the past. It was 2023. I think it was about 6 months ago, where I did my entire MJ portfolio 2023 update. And I gave the percentage breakdown as well. There was a couple changes that I made. I added some additions, some subtractions, and like I said, I'm going to give my entire MJ portfolio with percentage breakdown. And I'm curious, what do you hold in your portfolio? Let me know your top 5 holdings. If it's super lengthy, just let me know your top 5 holdings. But if it's not that many holdings, personally I have 17 different MJ holdings, but if you have a ton like that, let me know your entire portfolio, or if you want to just list your top 5. Curious to see what the community is currently holding at the moment. Before we get to all of that and more though, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all the good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future live streams or when I post a new video. Also, you can give us a follow over on X, which is formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And it's the best way for me to get real-time updates out to the community as well. So like I said, about 6 months ago now, I posted this entire MJ portfolio holdings 2023 worth percentages. You can reference this and you can see exactly what changed and what I added, what I subtracted. I'll do my best to go over it and not miss anything. But if you want to just check out that video, it's not very long. It's only about 8 minutes. 8.5, almost 9 minutes. So if you want to check that out. Also, I did a video not too long ago, just a few minutes ago. I posted this about 45 minutes ago. MSOS ETF confirmed monthly uptrend for the first time in history today. So lots of bullish momentum in the sector, which is great to see. And we're finally starting to see the MJ sector start to heat up after a brutal multi-year bear market, where we could be starting a new multi-year bull market. So great to see. And we'll take a look at the breakdown here. So you can see my number one holding still remains at Tilray Brands. So Tilray Brands accounts for 25% of my entire MJ portfolio at the moment. My second biggest holding is Curaleaf, which accounts for 10%, and then also MSOS ETF at 10%. Next we have High Tide at 9%, Organogram at 8%, SNDL at 7%, as well as Canopy at 7%. I'm actually looking to add more to my SNDL position though. I'm still not 100% comfortable with the amount of holdings that I have. I'd like to get a little bit more exposure to that. So again, probably do another update in the latter part of 2024. But Canopy Growth at 7%, Cannara Biotech at 6%, Cresco at 5%, AYR at 4%, Green Thumb at 3%, Oxy at 1%, and then the rest are all 1% as well. So Charlotte's Web, Body and Mind, Aurora, MedMen, and TAT. So I think the newest additions that I had to the portfolio from the last video, I think I added TAT. That's just basically a YOLO position. So you only live once, and very, very, very small position. Aurora, I added Aurora, I believe as well from the last update. I think they're going to be a great beneficiary and worth the risk and reward for, like, great risk to reward, but worth the risk in my opinion, especially with Germany supposed to have a vote this month and potentially enacted into law in April. So I like Aurora just for that play alone, and it's more of a medical play. We have Body and Mind. That was on there last time, I believe. Charlotte's Web, Oxley. I added Green Thumb. I added AYR. I added a bit more Cresco, but that was on there last time as well. What else wasn't on there? That's pretty much it. The only ones that weren't on there last update were AYR, Green Thumb, Aurora, and TAT. And I also sold DB and MJ ETF. So Decibel and MJ ETF. I actually sold those and bought more MSOS, and that was a great decision. I'm glad I did so. I was just focusing a little bit more on the US names. I may look to add MJ ETF, and this was in my RRSP. So for those of you that aren't familiar, it's my registered retirement savings plan. In an RSP, in a registered account like an RSP, you can trade as much as you want, whereas in a TFSA, a tax-free savings account here in Canada, I'm Canadian, you can't actually actively trade in there. It's frowned upon, and you're just not supposed to do it. The federal government does not like that and does not permit it. I was told by my tax specialist less than one trade a month is the rule of thumb. So my TFSA, and it's all tax-free, gross tax-free. So that's my long-term no touch. I just only buy in that account. I don't sell it after the fact. And my RRSP, my retirement registered retirement savings plan, I do a little bit more active trading in there, right? So my shorter term trading. So I sold DB in there and MJ ETF, and I bought more MSOS ETF. And like I said, that was a great decision. But like I said, let me know in the comments below what your top holdings are. I'll probably look to add, I'm pretty much packed in terms of Tilray, so I probably won't add any more Tilray to my portfolio. But I do think that Tilray has the potential to be the biggest MJ company globally. I think it's going to end up in the top 5 for sure. Top 3, I would say the very good chance of that. I would say, close to 100% is possible in the top 5. Maybe 80 to 90% in top 3, and I would say 50 to 60% chance that it ends up as the number 1 MJ company globally when all is said and done. I'm talking 5 plus 10 years from now. But very, very bullish on Curaleaf as well. They're going to be a huge beneficiary of the German market as well. And there's been a lot of rumors saying, floating around that Curaleaf could potentially buy an LP. There was talks about them potentially buying Kronos. That would be interesting. I think that would be a great move in their play because Kron has some exposure to the German market as well, and that would give them their in to the Canadian market, right? So if you bought a name like Kron, they got a ton of money, a ton of cash on their balance sheet, and they've got that investment from Altria. And then not only would it give you your in to the Canadian market, you would also, kind of just reinforce your German assets, right, and your exposure to Germany. So I think that's a great. I might look to add a little bit more Curaleaf to my portfolio. MSOS, I added a ton of this. So for those of you in Canada, that we got $7,000 extra for our tax-free savings account TFSA contribution room. So I've maxed out my entire $7,000 for the year. So January 1st, we got an extra $7,000 and I've already maxed that out. Majority of that was added. I used to add MSOS. I used some on Curaleaf. I used some on High Tide. I used some on SNDL. I used some on Cresco, AYR. So again, I'm going to be looking to add those. I'll probably look to add a little bit more MSOS ETF. Definitely going to be adding more High Tide in the future. Probably going to add Organogram, although I'm pretty happy with my holdings that I have there. SNDL, like I said, I might look to add one more time, possibly 2. CGC, I think I'm pretty much packed in terms of my CGC bags. Cannara Biotech, same thing there. Probably won't add any more on that one to my long-term no-touch account. And this is my whole MJ portfolio. So some of these are in my RRSP, some are in my TFSA. I didn't actually write that down, but maybe for the next video I'll do that. But I have a lot of these, like Cannara Biotech, Canopy. I have 2 positions, right? So I have 2 Canopy positions where one's in my RRSP and one's in my short-term, like in my RRSP, and then there's one in my TFSA, right? So a lot of these names, I hold duplicate positions, one in my long-term no-touch and one in my short-term account. So, and that's the best way to kind of fight FOMO. If you have a name where you're wondering if you should sell, well, you have your long-term account where usually it's a lot less capital, and you just buy and hold and you let it sit for X amount of time, X amount of years, or X dollar value, or until a certain event happens, right? Like full-blown US legalization is basically what I'm waiting for in my long-term no-touch. So just keep that in mind, that I have dual positions on a lot of these names, one in a shorter term and one in a longer term account, and that helps protect against FOMO. If things continue to go up after I sell, well, I still have my long-term no-touch account, right? So yeah, probably good on adding Cannara. I might look to add Cresco another time, AYR as well. I think they're going to be another great company in the long term, and I think they're going to really benefit from the Florida market, especially if we see it on the ballot for 2024, which I think is pretty much a surefire deal at this point, and then likely getting it enacted into law at some point in the summer of 2025. And then Green Thumb, I might look to add a little bit more Green Thumb. To be honest, it's one of those names where it doesn't offer as much upside. It's a little bit more of a safer play. Think of IIPR. It's definitely one of the best, the bigger names and one of the safest plays in the sector. I just think that there's a lot more risk versus reward opportunities out there. Definitely lower risk on Green Thumb, but a lot less reward, right? There's some other names, like for example Canopy, that has a ton of risk but a ton of reward to the upside as well, if it manages to float long term. Also Oxley, I'm pretty much done adding Oxley. That's just another YOLO position. Pretty much all of these are YOLO positions: Oxley, Charlotte's Web, Body and Mind, Aurora, MedMen, and TAT. So if we were to see massive upside in these names, you're talking massive upside. I'm talking anywhere from 10 to 25 to 50x on some of these names, right? $1,000 investment into 10 grand, or 25,000 or 50,000 on some of these names, right? and one being MedMen. If MedMen were to even go back to all-time highs from current price, we're talking, hundreds of thousands of dollars for $1,000 invested, right? So just 1% of my portfolio, and I'm okay if those investments go to zero because I'm diversified, and like I said, those are just YOLO positions. So I definitely think that there's opportunity in some of these names that are that beaten down that if one of these companies, if an Aurora or a MedMen or a TAT or a Body and Mind or a Charlotte's Web or an Oxley stands the test of time, and they end up being a success story and a turnaround story, $1,000 or a $500 investment into some of these names could end up being worth tens of thousands of dollars if, like I said, they're able to pull through. So I think it's worth the risk in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Let me know your entire MJ portfolio holdings with percentage breakdown. And like I said, I'll probably do another video. I might even do a couple of these because I get a lot of requests on a daily basis asking what I hold and how much my portfolio is in it. So I might do, one or two more updates in 2024 in my MJ portfolio. I don't want to do them too often as well because not a whole lot changes, but I'll keep everybody posted on the next one whenever I have any major changes. But let me know your MJ portfolio and holdings in the comment section below. Always love hearing from you. Going to end it there. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.